Alright guys, welcome back to another episode. You guys are with us again live for our YouTube, so we're excited to kind of get to bring it full circle again. Even though last time it was such a pain because I didn't actually have the microphone turned on, so I was so mad. But I'm like, I could use the actual recording that we actually used, so I just merged them. Because I'm a genius.
I wouldn't take it that far. But, yes, you did figure it out, so.
Guys, it's been a crazy week, so me and Nathan actually just got the stuff for the wood burner, or the corn burner stove. So me and Kayla are going to have a nice warm workout garage this winter, and we are pumped about that.
I love how you say me and Kayla,
Yeah, because you're going to come over more often.
Am I?
You're supposed to.
Yes, yes.
Where are you going to work out outside? Well, you already work out inside right now, but.
Yeah. It's just not as equipped as the spot that you have. I don't have all the trinkets. All the nice things.
Exactly. So doesn't that make you want to come?
No, it doesn't. It makes me just want to make do with the dumbbells that I have and do what I can. Anyways,
guys, we're going to get into today's podcast. Before we do it, guess what day I'm on for 75 Hard?
22.
22. I'm on day 22 today.
I'm on day 16.
I've been so diligent and just setting myself up every day. I'm literally getting my steps in, my walks in, whatever, and I'm actually so proud.
And honestly, we were just talking about how hard it was, honestly, to keep going with it after we were up at Chris's. Wait, don't interrupt. Okay. You're an interrupter. We were out at our brother's 21st birthday celebration, if you remember, out in La Crosse. And me and Kayla were talking about how difficult it was. Hey, you need to shut that door so the sound doesn't do that.
Me.
How difficult it was to stay on task with drinking our water and making sure we got both of our workouts in the next day, just because we were really exhausted, honestly.
It's so easy to do those things when you're in a routine of it. So I actually found it easier to do these things during the week, and then when it came to the weekend, the weekend is so jumbled for me that I don't really have any set rhythm compared to my weekdays. That I was struggling. I was chugging water at night.
Me too.
And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I thought I had this down. And I was literally chugging literally, you guys, from half my water bottle, this was at maybe 7 p.m. I'm trying to drink 1 p.m. time all the way down. This is half my gallon. And it was terrible because.
Did you pee all night?
Pee all night, but also my stomach was so bloated and full of water and it was uncomfortable. And it was just, oh my god.
You woke up earlier than me that day too, and I got all my water in.
This wasn't even the day that we got back at 4:30 in the morning. This was the day that the next day, Sunday.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you got up earlier than me that day.
I know I did, and
right when I woke up at 11 o'clock, I was just constantly drinking my water the whole day.
I'm struggling lately with trying to get in on the weekends. I don't know, my brain is elsewhere, and I just need to kind of keep the routine the same. I need to get up at between 4:30, and I need to just start. But also, I feel I started this program and I was like, oh my gosh, this is easy. Do my workouts, drink my water, don't eat cheat meals, stick to the plan.
I never thought it was easy.
I felt like it was, but honestly, the longer you go into it, the harder it is, because just like I talked about before, when you get in a routine and it gets boring, it's harder for people to stick to.
You know what
people
else
love
I'm
exciting
thinking?
things.
For some reason, I'm okay, it's not that much longer. It's not that much longer. I'm on day 16.
It's a lot longer.
It is a lot longer. All the way through Halloween, all the way through my birthday,
I'm pumped about though, because at the very beginning, the first couple weeks, you're excited. Then you start going through this drag. You're like,
I don't know if I was ever excited. Where are these feelings coming from?
This is where I'm coming from. Then I'm like, fuck, it's been 3 weeks, whatever now, or we're on day whatever it is, and I'm just kind of feel I'm slowing down a little bit. And then it's okay, then you do a little bit more, and then you start looking back. You're like, okay, now I've gotten to see how far I've come, and that starts motivating you. The progress starts to motivate you.
The progress does, yeah.
And
I kind of hope other people, if you guys are listening to the podcast or on the YouTube, I hope that you guys actually do the challenge, because it's so cool.
Not a challenge, program.
Okay, yeah, do 75 Hard, because it is really cool how much you'll actually change your life, change a lot of the habits you normally do, because you can't do those habits anymore. You can't drink anymore. You can't do tons of cheat meals. You can't do that no more. You can't do a habit of not working out. It has to be creating a habit. You just change.
And what me and you were talking about.
Life.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you again. You hate that.
It's okay.
What me and you were talking about is how much it saves you money, though.
Yes.
We're wow, this is nice actually to go out and not be spending how much money on drinks just because you're trying to, like everybody else is, whatever, having drinks and it's social.
Me and
or
Kayla
even
went
the
out.
food.
Sorry, interrupt
Yeah,
you.
see? Okay.
Me and Kayla went out for the birthday and we spent $14. That's it.
I was so proud of myself coming home. Like,
That's with
$14?
gas
What?
and with our meal.
Yeah,
Because
we
we split
split.
fucking tacos. And then I was starving the rest of the night because I ate one taco.
On Friday night when we went out for Corey's birthday, Kayla literally kept complaining the whole night. Like, can we? I can't remember what the place was called, but she's like, "Can we go back
Agav.
here?" Agav, yeah. It's like Agav Kitchen or something. And she's like,
Agav.
"Can we go back and get another taco?" I'm like, "Kayla, that's your own fucking fault. You said you wanted to split a taco."
No, you said you want to split food because you didn't.
Okay, we
this is what
decided-
happened. Kayla told me
Okay,
she's
don't
not
change your
eating.
story.
I said, I'm
Okay.
hungry, I'm going to eat. Do you want to split food? Maybe I did say that.
Yeah. Oh, it goes. Yeah.
Anyways, she decided on a taco, or we did. And there was only 2 tacos when the meal came. So we each got 1 taco.
Okay, I did
And that
think
was our
that there's
supper.
at least going to be 3 or 4 where we both either get 2 or we get 1.5. But yeah, there's only 2 tacos,
So, obviously, yeah, I was still hungry.
That's
Oh,
a little.
very hungry. To the point that I was going to break my 75 hard challenge, or not challenge, 75 hard, and eat a shit ton of pizza because that's going to be the only thing open at 2 a.m. in the morning. I was
Yeah,
starving.
Chris ordered pizza, and then Kayla kept saying, "Is a pizza coming?"
Yeah, I was going to eat
And
it.
Chris is like, "No, I don't think it's coming. I think it
The
closes."
only
in."
reason that I didn't do 75 hard or stayed with 75 hard at 3 a.m. in the morning is because the pizza didn't fucking come.
Yeah, the reason that you stayed on track, you're lucky that pizza didn't show up. Or actually, you're lucky that we decided to leave before, even if I don't even think the pizza came.
My
I'm pretty
discipline
sure it
was
did,
very
but
low at 3 in the morning when I was starving and tired. I was gonna eat it.
That's literally though what even Andy talks about and saying is like, like you need to make sure that that you take yourself out of those hard situations. So he talks about not going to birthdays because if you can't fucking not eat the cake, then you just can't go. And I kind of relate to it as, sorry, I hate these edges. There we go.
She's ripping her paper.
I kind of relate to it when we, like to that night when it gets to be that late and you're like hungry. But all right, let's keep moving on because this is Sorry,
that's just an update on.
that's up there how the weekend went, kind of. More so how
Was
Sunday
that
party
this last weekend?
Yeah, that was last Friday.
Oh yeah, it was.
It was such a great time though. I had so much fun. The ride home, Kayla was constantly complaining that she was tired, and the motherfucker wasn't even driving. So
Did I sleep on the way home? Did I sleep? Did
yeah.
I?
Kayla,
I don't
was
think I
literally-
did. Oh no, I
No,
started.
you were
yeah.
sleeping a
When
little
we
bit.
got to your driver, I started like dozing off. You're like, "Can you drive home tonight?" And I was like, "Yes."
Well, honestly though, you had the heat blaring, and I was like literally driving like this, going
Yeah.
like shaking my head. I'm like, fucking stay awake, Kayla. I'm like, then I look at the heat. I'm like, why the fuck is the heat on, Kayla? It's 4:30 in the morning. I'm exhausted, and you're making me. And I was up 24 hours because the morning
too.
before, yeah, we were up at 4 to get all of our workouts in and to try and get ahead of our drinking, all that
Yeah,
kind of
that's
stuff.
what I do when I can't. When
So
I
when
can't
it's-
stay awake, I just shake my.
24 hours later, I'm like, am I fucking hallucinating? Like, fucking watch the road, Caitlin. It was terrible.
I told you we
And
should
you're
drive
over there
home
like-
at 3. Yeah.
Like, your Kayla sleeps with her mouth open. If you guys don't know, it's like this. If she's in the car with you and she's sleeping, it's like,
Did you see where they called
and her
you
eyes
yesterday?
are like half open, half shut. You're like, what the fuck? Are you sleeping? You're awake.
On the way home from school last night.
Yeah,
Yesterday,
that
I
was
was
you.
like-
That was you doing that. Every now and then, I like do a bump or something. You'd be freaking choppers together. All right,
Okay,
let's get into it. All right, guys, we're talking about advanced training methods today. So.
That was 10 minutes of us just fucking talking. I hope people are still on this podcast.
So when you start training, you see big gains right out of the gate. Especially if you're a novice trainer, you've never trained before. The minute you start doing strength training or you start implementing weights into your program, you start seeing big gains and big changes. And this usually happens 3 to 6 months into your training. It's going well, you're progressing, but you're just doing the basic programming, right? So you're doing progressive overload and you're doing mind-muscle connection. Mind to muscle connection. We're going to talk about the advanced training methods on once you kind of hit that plateau, where you go from there.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, that's it.
So
That
guys-
is what we're talking about.
There's a point that your body starts adapting, especially in this 3 to 6 month period. There's a point that you kind of hit that plateau, you're not making any gains, and this is where we really like to implement those advanced training methods.
And this is also where lots of people think, like, what's going on? Like, they don't understand what's happening with their body. Because they're still doing the same things. They're still
Yeah.
doing their training. They're still eating their nutrition. They think that they should still be losing or gaining, like losing weight or gaining muscle.
Yeah.
But they're not.
And sometimes there's only so much that a progressive overload can even do for you. Like, you want to be progressing, and you need to be able to be more strategic about it when you do hit those plateaus. So when it comes to training, you have your motor unit, which is basically a group of muscle fibers recruited by the nervous system to coordinate a muscle connection. So, if for the Heisman principle, this is actually something I want to talk about quick. So there's something called the Heisman size principle, and that is, I actually wrote down because I didn't want to forget, but it's an easy task. So such as like your normal training, whether that be, whatever reps it is, your easy task recruits lower threshold motor units. And so to recruit the higher motor units, you need to either fatigue yourself or lift heavier weights. So this is sometimes where that advanced training technique comes in to really help you start recruiting those larger motor units and not just lower motor units.
And the thing is with your body too, it's like, as we've talked about before on the podcast, you constantly kind of need to be not necessarily changing up your training, but changing up how you're training. Like you said, progressive overload, or taking back, or like dieting in a different way, like to constantly see change and like kind of shock your body in different ways.
100%. And just to maximize hypertrophy, so muscle growth, you need to be able to recruit all motor units for a sufficient period of time. So you can't just do it, you can't sometimes just do a 10-minute session. You're not really recruiting all those motor units, and you're not really testing them as much as
you're not exhausting yourself.
Exactly. So these methods that we're going to share with you are going to help place more tension on the muscles by overloading a particular aspect of the lift. So all these methods that we're going to share with you have different areas that they're going to target to help increase the motor units being utilized. All right, I'm done with the sheet, my notes. I take so many notes sometimes, but my handwriting gets worse.
Mine's a flip. I like to flip.
Yeah, you do like flipping. Okay, we're going to talk about 4 advanced training methods today, and there are actually a lot, so this is probably going to be like part 1 of...
And like you were saying, they're always developing like new advanced training ideas, because people, obviously scientists are constantly testing new things, trying to test out how to fatigue your muscles, how to fatigue you, how to achieve bigger and higher, like better
ways to incorporate muscle connection, muscle growth.
So it's always going to be, I feel like, always newer ideas and newer advanced
There's
training
definitely
methods.
like some of the most thought of ones, some of the most common ones. There's definitely like a good probably 10% that gets like utilized in different programs. But we're going to just kind of go through quite a few of them. So this, like I was trying to say before, you cut me off.
I'm bad.
This is part 1 of most likely part 3, because we're going to do 4 to 5 advanced training methods per podcast. So we're going to start the first one. We have 4 today, and the 4 are, do you want to list them?
Yeah, the constant tension reps, rest pause reps, iso holds, and pyramids.
So those are the 4 advanced training methods that we're going to go over today. We're going to start today with our constant tension reps. So constant tension reps is just like the name sounds. And me and Kayla have both utilized this training method in our own trainings, but you're creating tension not by not resting at any moment. So you're not resting at the bottom of a movement, and you're not resting at the top of a movement.
So the biggest thing that I can kind of use like as an example to explain this is if you're doing a chest press and you go all the way down to your chest press and then you go all the way up to lockout, so your arms are straight and your elbows are locked in, that's technically a rest right there because you're locking out, so you're taking off some of the tension on your muscles that you're trying to work right there.
Yeah, 100%. So you really, for these reps, they're going to be fairly full range of motion, but not full range of motion. So even if you just think of a squat or a hip thrust, when you go to the bottom, you're fluidly coming back up, and you're not locking all the way out like Kayla said just for a chest press. You're being almost all the way to the lockout, and you're going back down. So constant tension reps should be very fluid and smooth, and there should be no rest at top or bottom. So the only time that you rest is at the end of your set. So one whole set should be constant, and at the end of the set, that's when you can lock out or rest.
And honestly, these are hard. This really gets your heart rate up. It really gets you working. I'm like always like,
oh my gosh,
breathing so heavy. Like, what's it called? Like,
hyperventilating?
No, I hope not. What's that word called? When you're like panting, like a dog. I don't know. I don't think that's the word either. Huffing. I'm always huffing, like I'm exhausted because you're not resting, and usually, especially if you're trying to challenge yourself,
actually, you know what?
You have a higher
One second, keep
you
going.
have a heavier dumbbell or a heavier weight that you're trying to use, and so you just keep going with all the reps. It's like one big rep almost, because you're not stopping the rep. Basically, like Caitlin said, there's no lockout. And I do this for most of my training because honestly, I don't want to waste a ton of time in my training. I like to make it as fast as possible for my training. So I already try to do just constant tension reps because I don't want to waste time to lock out constantly. I just want to keep my muscles under the strain and kind of keep going.
Yeah, this is really what it's doing. It is increasing your the strain on you and the load on you, because you're not ever getting that rest. Compared to when you do the lockout, it kind of significantly reduces that strain on those muscles that you're working. So it's, oh my gosh, it's a killer. And I kind of like doing higher reps usually for this. There's actually Brett Contreras in his book. He talks about how he did, it was like a 20 squat challenge, and it's in constant tension. And you do 20 of like a moderate weight, because obviously it's pretty hard. And you just kind of keep going and like...
Keep going up?
No, just you do your constant tension reps, so you never rest.
Okay.
And by the end of it, like, even though you start with pretty light weight, your muscles are just screaming. So it's a great one to implement into your guys' own training. All right. Actually, I feel this one, since we do implement it so often, it would always be like also one that we implement in like other areas too. So it's not always just for like the lower body. Just like you said, we also implement it in the upper body.
Especially if I'm using a higher weight, or a lower weight, then I definitely try to do, like you said, constant tension reps. But if I have a higher weight, there will be times that I just can't keep going. So I have to like stop and I have to like hold, like if I'm doing like a shoulder press, I have to hold a weight here for like,
right.
I don't know, 30 seconds or something like that before I keep going.
I would almost even argue too that I've seen some people use constant tension reps as a way for like them to lift even heavier weights too. Like they'll try and do 2 reps, and instead of doing like 2 full range of motion reps, they just try and get in 2 to say, oh, I lifted 2 of like this, like whatever. And not that that's a bad thing, but I feel like if you're lifting really heavy, you also want to be able to, actually be able to lift that through a full range of motion too.
Yeah, but also, this is a good hack if you don't have a ton of dumbbells or access to a gym. If you have like dumbbells that are lighter in weight and you do constant tension reps and just higher rep ranges, you're going to still be able to build a good amount of muscle.
Oh, 100%. That's why like the advanced training methods are ways to really help you with that.
So yeah, that's a great hack actually. And actually that's what I do, because I don't have a ton of weights, obviously.
Yeah, it's a good way to overload a particular aspect of your muscles, whatever muscle group you're working in. You can overload it just by doing these different things. All right, we're going to get to the next one because we're like rambling now. We're going to do rest, pause, reps as our next one. So this is actually kind of a type of cluster set. So one set is performed by continuously going through your reps, and you have predetermined rest or pauses between reps. So for example, it kind of looks like this. If you have a hip thrust, for example, your first set is only gonna get, let me start, first hip thrust.
I was like, what?
Say for first set that you can only get 6 reps. So that's using a 6 arm load, so rep max load. Now you're gonna take a 1 minute rest or pause. At the bottom, you're going to deload, and then instead of continuing in bad form, you want to take that rest. You want to have your body to have a chance to recuperate. Next, you're going to do another quick, 2 more reps. So you get 2 more reps in, you can't perform anymore with good form, you stop, you take a little rest, then you perform maybe another 2 reps, and then maybe perform to finish out, take a rest, and you perform your last rep.
So basically, you're doing as many as you can, resting, trying to do as many as you can again, and you just keep going. It's like, do as many as you can, rest. When you can't do no more, take a break, do as many as you can. And if it is 6 again, that's cool, but I don't feel like it should be 6.
It should be technically be going down every time.
I don't feel like it should be 6, because if it's 6 again, I feel like then you could have done more than 6 last time.
Then, especially for your first set or your first reps, should be the highest out of all of them. So, for example, if it's 10 total reps and you get 6 the first time, then you take a rest. You get 2, take a rest, get 1, take a rest, get 1. Like that's typically how it's programmed. So you're usually going heavy here. You're getting as many as you can for your first time, and then you're going down.
Yeah.
Rest, pause, reps. I would say that I've used this without knowing that I'm programming it myself. So if I'm like trying to get, for example, 8 reps of a heavy back squat, and I did 4, and I'm like, fuck, I'm like only halfway there. I need a breather quick. I rest, and then I do like another 2. I rest. I do another 2.
Yeah.
That's me like implementing it without it actually being programmed in my own program. And I think a lot of people actually utilize this type of method without knowing it.
I think people use all these methods kind of without knowing, especially this one, because yeah, there's definitely times where you're going to be doing a weight and you just can't perform anymore, and then you're going to have to wait, like you said, and then try again, and you're not going to be able to get all the reps in one. But then instead of trying to continue with whatever training plan you're doing, of like doing a full 8 reps, maybe you should just do the rest, pause, reps method.
Yeah.
Like you should start utilizing that in your training, especially if you have a higher weight.
Yeah, 100%. It really does allow you to lift that heavier weight and then still be able to progress. Like, then if you do the rest pause method again the next week, you should be shooting for, if you got 6 the first time for your first little like cluster before you rest, you should be shooting for 7, or you should be at least shooting for 6, and then your next number you should be shooting for 1 higher. Like that's how you can, when you're recording this on your programming, that's how you can look to improve.
Or even improve in weight next time.
Oh, yeah, 100%. If you can improve weight, definitely. But don't forget, like, this is also where form kind of comes in. Like, you should be taking that quick rest if you need it, if your form's starting to lack, and then you can continue.
But also with the rest there and stuff, or the pause kind of in between the reps and the sets, you don't want to take like a 1 minute, 2 minute rest necessarily. Well, like, if you really need like a 1 minute rest, if you're lifting really, really heavy, then yes, you probably need that 1 minute. But if you're not lifting like extremely heavy to that point that you need that time to recuperate, you kind of want to keep the training moving.
And yeah, definitely. The rest periods are supposed to be low. And remember that when this is actually programmed, not when you're just like doing it and it's not actually programmed. When it's programmed, it is predetermined. You have predetermined rest or pauses in this. So it will say, like your program might say 6, 2, 1, 1. So those are your predetermined reps that you're trying to hit, and your pauses are already in there for you.
So basically they're trying to tell you, get a heavy enough weight that you can hit 6 for sure, but not
over and not under.
Yeah, not under. So like then you really need to start understanding and have a good idea of what you can lift.
And this is also where warming up is so important, because getting a warm up in and working up to your up to whatever you're supposed to be trying to hit, is going to help you realize where you should start for weights.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's rest pause reps. Again, it's kind of a type of cluster set because you're never really finishing that whole set. It's just clusters of reps until you finish.
Yep.
We're going to move on to iso holds. We've programmed this before.
Yeah.
Quite a few times. Actually, honestly, we've probably programmed all of these.
I was going to say, I don't think there's anything on here that we haven't done. You just, in training, especially if you've been working out and training as long as we have, you've tried so many things and you've learned
experimented so much.
Yeah, that you do a lot of things without realizing it. So that's super cool to realize.
I really enjoy actually experimenting, because getting to try new things is one of the best things, because you realize really what's like working for you, what doesn't work for you, and what's really like actually helped you progress. Because these type of methods have actually helped me go up in weight and like helped me get stronger. Like it's really increased my rep maxes, 1 rep maxes, whatever it is, and it's been able to really be helpful too to help with imbalances and to train for especially isometrics. If like injury or when I'm feeling like really sore in an area and I really feel like I just need to take it back a little bit, those are great for that. So
can I drink your coffee? Are you gonna drink it or no?
Sure, you can drink it. I'm gonna drink my water.
So
iso holds is isometric training, and what it's usually been known for, what it's really great for, is it's great for performing in certain ranges of motion. So if you can't perform in certain range of motion, it can really dial it in. And it's also great if you're injured. So it's helpful to train around certain areas, or it's also helped to build up that injured area. As long as you don't want to train if you're super injured, but if you're, like we talked about, if you're sore or if you're just feeling like something's not quite right, it's great to implement isos.
The biggest thing with this is a lot of people think that by doing isometrics or iso holds or any of that, they're taking a step back in their training, but honestly you're just taking a step forward, because your body needs this time, especially if you're injured, to kind of recuperate and to like fix those problem areas before you keep going. If you keep going, you're just going to wreck your body even more. You're going to get even more injured, and then you're going to possibly break or tear or something, and you won't be able to train at all.
Like for a quick little example about we'll get into examples in a second. So an iso hold is a hold that you do in a static position. So a static position is meaning that you're not moving, and it's usually in a range that creates tension in the muscles. So while building strength primarily in that position, you're going to be doing it either for a squat, it'd be the bottom of the squat. For hip thrust, it'd be the top of lockout of your hip thrust. So it's in an area that you're going to be in the most, have the most tension of the muscle.
It's like if I was doing a squat, just so the camera can see, I'm gonna go on. Like if you're doing a squat, you're gonna hold
The most tension is in the bottom of the squat.
This is where the tension is. Like obviously it's not here, and it's not gonna be way down here because that's easier. It's gonna be right there.
Yep. And same with like if you're doing your hip thrust, it's the top of the hip thrust, the lockout position. That's where the most tension is in the glutes.
That's why for hip thrust, you can do like a hip thrust hold, where you're just holding the weight in lockout position.
Yeah, 100%. And in this static position, that's where you're gonna be building strength primarily in that position. So, like we talked about, the top of the hip thrust, the bottom of the squat, and this is gonna also create high levels of tension and generate high levels of metabolic stress. So even for lateral raises, if you're going up and you're raising, I really implement isometric holds in lateral raises. I'll do either a pause, like a 2-second pause iso hold, or some people do up to 30-second iso holds, but that's just going to help generate more levels of that metabolic stress in those positions and in those muscles.
I really like to do iso holds with not just weight but also banded things, because you have like the resistance of holding it there, kind of like, and the resistance coming down. Like sometimes the resistance is what's harder than like even weights.
Right. You know, I was just thinking about what movement is it? Like some people do different warm-ups and they're not actually going against resistance. I think it's like, I believe it's, it's this one. It's like going like, when people are like trying to work different muscles and they're like grabbing the dumbbell here and they're going here, instead it needs to be this way, so you have the gravity pulling you down.
Yeah.
And people try and do, so always,
across.
Yeah. You either need to have, like the band would have to be there to go across with it, otherwise you need to have your pronated hand. Sorry, you guys can't even understand what we're talking about because you're in the microphone. But in general, when you are either doing any type of exercise or warm up, you want to make sure there's resistance against what you're doing. So if you are doing a, like pull out, whether that be a paddle off press or whatever, you want to make sure there's resistance pulling you back, right? And it needs to be in the same plane of field plane that you're trying to pull in. So I don't know why I started talking about that. That's so off topic, but I was just I was thinking about the iso holds.
I just don't know that anybody understands what you're talking about right now, because they can't see your hand motions and some people don't understand the words you're saying. So,
okay, let's pause here quick because I think the camera's gonna pause quick.
Okay.
All right, we're back, guys. We're gonna just scratch that because it's completely off topic and
we're not scratching that. I'm editing this and I'm not editing.
I'm saying we're gonna scratch what I was talking about.
I was like, I'm not editing that out. That's too much work.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Should we get into what time we're at? Oh my gosh, we're going fast. All right, so remember isometric holds or iso holds are really great for training injury or training in a certain range of motion, especially for people who can't do maybe a full range of squat, or if they can't quite if they're really weak when it comes to lockout or hip thrust. Sometimes it's really great to train that iso hold in that lockout position
because you're targeting the exact muscle that's weak.
And that's going to really increase that metabolic stress and help grow that muscle.
I also really like to do iso holds with like single leg or whatever. Because,
100%.
Like single leg, single arm, whatever, training just individually, because obviously also training individually while doing isometric holds can really help target even more of that muscle, because you're not having the help of both legs. You're just using the one that's weaker.
For my activation sessions before my lower body days, I always incorporate a little bit of iso holds, especially in my glute bridges from the ground, because I'm really trying to target that muscle. One, get it primed and warm, but two, I am a little bit weaker when it comes to the lockout portion of a hip thrust.
Sure.
And I honestly can't go super heavy right now because I lose my form. So I'm more so training right now higher reps and really trying to make sure I have that tension.
Honestly, if you want to see how weak you are in like a hip thrust, go to a single leg hip thrust and you'll really start to understand like, shit, like you think you're strong until you do one-legged and you're like, I need to work on this for sure, because I could always...
Yeah, especially when you're doing like, unilateral exercises where it's just one leg or one arm, whatever it is. And you always can really see your imbalances a lot easier.
For me, it's my left arm that has like imbalance and my right leg. Is that weird? I want to research if that's weird that it goes across your body. Does it happen for you that way?
I feel like my legs, I've really been working like pistol squats and like unilateral exercises to really help strengthen and decreased imbalance, but in college I think it was my right leg. Or is like, yeah, no.
I guess I'm just
no,
wondering in general,
if
is it
your
across your body that you're weak? Or is it like one side of your body that people are
Is
weaker
it really
usually?
your right leg though? Because if you're like, are you thinking of a squat? Like if your left hip shoots up first, it's because your right leg took more of the work. If your left hip shoots up first, your right leg is taking more of that work.
I'm thinking lunges. So when I'm doing lunges, this leg, when I'm doing reverse lunges, comes up a lot stronger and is more steady. Yeah. Whereas this one, my knee can tend to buckle in a little bit. So, and then this arm, when I'm doing...
That's interesting that it's opposites. Yeah, you should
I know,
look at
that's
that.
what I'm wondering. Okay.
Okay. Alright guys, we're going to get on to our final training method, advanced training method, and that is going to be...
pyramids.
Pyramids, yes. So pyramids was actually popularized by Vince Gironda, and I might have butchered that last name, but he was known as the Iron Guru. How cool is that, like,
really?
nickname? Yeah, the Iron Guru.
I want to search him now. What's his name?
Vince Gironda. Iron Guru. You can just search Iron Guru and he should pop up. But pyramids, we're gonna just go into this before
He's dead?
I'm not sure if he's alive or not.
Because you said he was known.
He popularized pyramids. Pyramid training.
He's not dead.
Okay, so pyramids allows you to hit an entire rep spectrum. So you're doing the low, the high rep, and the medium rep. So all of them. And it helps you get stronger in all rep ranges and targets all muscle fibers by doing pyramid sets, which is so cool, and these are fucking challenging.
Pyramids are challenging. Like, even when we do in school, like, I remember Mrs. E for, like, PE or something, or even volleyball, she would have us do pyramid sets for, like, runs.
Oh, like, down and back or something, like, things, like, where it's like, oh, are you talking about, like, ladders, though?
They called it ladders, but it's kind of like a pyramid.
Because, well, I don't know if they call it ladders, because I don't think we did, and we didn't, like, finish. It was just, like, high to low.
It was similar. Anyways.
Yes.
Moving on, sorry.
Alright, anyways, so... one of the most common forms of like a period example set would be like 15, 10, 5, 20. So 15 is going to be more of your moderate range, your medium reps. 10 is going to be more your medium reps. Then it's going to go into your high reps, which is going to be 5. So that means it's high resistance. You're going to be doing heavy. And then it's going to go to your low, and that's going to be 20. So it's going to work like this, for example. 15 is going for, let's do a hip thrust, for example. So 15 of your reps, you're going to start with a hard set of 15. So it's going to be hard to do 15, but you're going to be able to make 15 reps.
Are you doing the same weight throughout the whole pyramid set?
No,
okay, let's...
Next, you're going to take a pause. You're going to add weight. You'll rest. And now you're doing 10. And these 10 should also be hard because you're adding weight.
Yeah.
But you're going down a rep. So, like, in that way, you should be able to meet that weight. Then you're going to rest again. You're going to add more weight. And you are going to perform your heavy set for 5 reps. So your heavy set is really going to be struggling to get that weight done for 5 reps, but it should be just about perfect. Again, here is where you implement the 20 reps. So you're going to drop your weight significantly, and you're going to take a rest, and now you are going to perform 20 reps fully, and that is one pyramid set.
So pyramid sets are characterized at first by starting with a higher rep and a lower weight, and then going down in reps and up in your weight until you get to the very end.
So you get to the end, and then you're going to go down in your weight and up in your reps at the very end. So I do these I've implemented them a lot when it comes to hip thrusts mainly, or squats. Upper body, I've done also for like overhead presses.
Pyramids, I've always just done starting with a bigger rep scheme, obviously, and then a lower weight, and then just going down in my reps and up in my weight. At the end, I never went back up in my reps and down in my weight.
So then technically you wouldn't have completed like a full...
I know, but
there's also like drop sets, drop sets we're going to get into another one of the podcasts, but drop sets are similar to pyramid sets.
I think we'll just keep going with the advanced training methods for the next 3.
Yeah. There's so many. But pyramids, anyways, it's great to really be able to hit that entire rep spectrum because, like we said, you're going to be targeting all your muscle fibers in that. And this is also why my training programs, I might not have, like currently, I don't have pyramid sets in my training programs, but currently throughout my full 7-day week, whatever, I do hit all those different rep ranges in my training. So that's why I have lower rep range days, which is my heavy day, or my heavy leg day, or my heavy upper body day. And then I have a moderate day, and then I have a low day. And low day is going to be my high reps and easier weights, usually. And then, yeah, like, that's how you, like, research has shown constantly that you're going to better increase your muscle hypertrophy through training all rep ranges. So that's why
be well-rounded in reps.
That's why if you're not going to incorporate a pyramid type scheme into your training, then it's great to also have heavy and low days to make sure you're hitting all those rep ranges.
Like if you look at a bodybuilder, those people are not going to be able to lift heavy every single day of the week because their body just can't take that.
That's why they have deload days too, like weeks.
They need to have days where they go down in their weight and up in their reps.
Yeah, just give yourself their break and their central nervous system a chance to recover. Because if you keep doing that to your central nervous system, eventually it's not gonna be able to take that, and you're not gonna be increasing in type of gains, and you're just gonna be plateaued because your body's exhausted and you just can't go. So, also I feel like not only do they continue have a train across a week in rep ranges by day, you could also just train across like that in one day. So you could have you could start out heavy with your compound lifts, then you can do your accessory work, moderate, and then your like burnout exercises or your finisher can be your low.
Yeah.
Like you're like all the way till failure or close to failure. Did you know that for like banded abductions or like sideline hip leg raises, whatever, many people think they're training to failure because of the burn that they have, but really they could actually do like 10 more reps.
Yeah,
they just think they can't.
Yeah, because I would even training in all of our clients, a lot of times people are like, oh no, I can't, But if you take it yourself and you take a band and you go do banded abductions or clams, you're gonna realize that it hurts really bad, but if you keep pushing, you can still do it.
I believe it's called like the lactic acid burn or something, that the lactic acid builds up and it like makes that feeling. But the difference is, so if you're doing a full body weight or full body squat, you literally can't do one more. Like when your body is like done and you've like done
and you just can't. Your legs are shaking. You can't stand.
There's not a chance that you can do one more. Yeah. But then you have the flip side, and you have this super high rep range, and people literally think that they couldn't do one more, but they could probably do 10 more
with
that burn.
With that, because of that burn, a lot of people think they're like really making gains.
Yeah.
And it's not obviously always the case.
Yeah.
You're just more lactic acid usually. But anyways, that is all we have for you guys today for the 4 advanced training methods. Remember, the 4 advanced training methods were constant tension reps, rest pause reps, iso holds, and pyramids.
So for our next 2 podcasts coming up, we're going to keep coming with these advanced training methods for you guys because there's a lot to cover and they're great things to start implementing into your training, especially if you've plateaued or if you're looking for another way to start progressing your training. Alright guys, we hope you got some awesome information out today. We need to get a intro and outro. I can't talk today. Have you seen this? Have you noticed this?
Is outro? That's not a word. Outro?
Intro and outro? Yeah, that's a word.
Is it?
Yes.
I just feel like it's not.
Look it up. Okay, look it up after this. Alright guys, thank you so much again for listening to Double Minds. If you guys loved it, all we ask is that you like it and share it with a friend. It means the world to us that you guys share our content, and we'll see you on our next podcast.
See you guys.
Stop it.